Kick, punch, it's all in the mind. If you wanna test me, I'm sure you'll find the things I'll teach ya, sure to beat ya. Nevertheless, you'll get a lesson from teacher. Now kick,
Kick, kick,
punch,
punch, punch,
chop,
chop, chop,
block.
block,
Once more now, kick.
Thanks to the kung fu skills you've seen acquiring here from Chop Chop Master Onion, PaRappa is sufficiently equipped to take part in the Battle Royale, and as the OG of the rhythm action genre, he's earned his spot there too. But even with his resume, is he still the top dog? Let's take a look at what the rapping rover has up his two-dimensional sleeve. PaRappa is another great option for new players. His moves are simple, yet effective, and chain together nicely to make him one of the easiest combo-reliant characters to master, despite his decidedly small reach. Let's begin with the square button, which governs PaRappa's punches and kicks. A simple tap of neutral square will throw a light punch worth 5 AP, not very effective on its own. However, continually mashing neutral square will cause PaRappa to punch rapidly, with the final punch ejecting the opponent for a total of 43 AP. Novices will find themselves relying on this attack a lot, but bear in mind that PaRappa is vulnerable to other players throughout the whole attack. Forward and square will cause PaRappa to body check your opponent, launching them slightly for 20 AP. Up and tapping square will trigger a light uppercut with a similar effect. Up and holding square, on the other hand, will not only fully launch the opponent, but cause PaRappa to follow them up into the air, presenting the opportunity for a follow-up aerial attack. Both forms of this move are worth 20 AP, and you can also immediately follow up the heavy uppercut with a light one. Down and square is a very useful attack. It's incredibly quick, worth 20 AP, and will sweep the opponent off their feet, leaving them wide open for the next attack. Most of these moves are altered slightly when used in the air. For instance, double tapping neutral square will kick your opponent twice and send them straight back down to the ground for 25 AP. Forward and square will cause PaRappa to jump kick straight through an opponent. This can be useful in certain situations, but it only does 10 AP worth of damage. Up and square's aerial form remains unchanged, but down and square activates a similar attack to mashing neutral square. PaRappa will dive straight down until he hits an opponent, upon which mashing neutral square will rapidly kick them and eventually flatten them. I recommend using this attack a lot, as it's much harder to interrupt than its punching counterpart, and does roughly the same amount of damage. Moving on to the triangle button, here PaRappa makes use of his trusty skateboard. Each of the following moves are worth 20 AP. Neutral triangle will swat away nearby opponents. Forward and triangle will cause PaRappa to somersault forward and flatten them. This is one of PaRappa's farthest reaching attacks and is particularly effective on multiple opponents. Up and triangle is one of PaRappa's two primary anti-airs. By hand planting and spinning the board, he can fend off incoming opponents from above. This attack will not, however, hit adjacent opponents on the ground. Down and triangle is a low-hitting attack that will eject your opponent. This is actually worth 30 AP, but you might as well ignore it anyway, as it's incredibly slow. In the air, neutral triangle and up and triangle remain the same. Aerial forward and triangle might be PaRappa's best move. PaRappa will dive forward, slam into an opponent with the board, and launch them slightly for 20 AP. He recovers from this move very quickly, so you can easily follow up with up and square and deliver more pain in the air. Beyond that though, this move doubles as a handy tool for covering distance. At the right elevation, you can cross an entire stage and hit someone on the other side. Aerial down and triangle is much quicker and therefore more useful than its ground form, flattening the opponent for 20 AP. The circle button governs PaRappa's microphone and boombox attacks. Neutral circle is your main tool for overcoming PaRappa's short range. He will throw out his microphone and use it to reel in a nearby opponent, yielding 10 AP in the process. A good tactic for new players is to immediately follow up this move with mashing neutral square. Make sure you get a good feel for the range of this attack, as failing to reel someone in will leave you wide open for almost a whole second. Forward and circle is another very useful move. This will cause PaRappa to dash forward while spinning his microphone. Upon colliding with an opponent for 20 AP, PaRappa will jump backward slightly, while the opponent will be butt dropped. They are vulnerable to attack while getting back up, so once you recover, try following up with neutral circle, neutral triangle, or mashing neutral square if you're next to a wall. Up and circle is PaRappa's second primary anti-air, lifting a boombox above his head that will explode with sound. While it's slow to initiate, what you lose in speed, you gain in power, as this attack will eject the opponent for 30 AP. Unlike up and triangle, this attack will also hit adjacent opponents on the ground. Finally, down and circle is another ignorable move. PaRappa will drop the boombox on the stage and it will spawn AP for a short amount of time. New players who haven't gotten the hang of PaRappa's more effective combos yet might appreciate this, but advanced players needn't bother with the minuscule amount of AP it generates. Besides, There's nothing to stop other players from batting you away and taking that AP for themselves. All of PaRappa's circle moves function identically when used in the air, but it's worth noting that when using aerial forward and circle, the opponent will recover before hitting the ground. On the upside, the dash part of this attack is perfectly horizontal, making it a handy evasive maneuver or tool for traversing the stage. Now let's discuss what makes PaRappa a force to be reckoned with: combos. Once again, this is not the full extent of PaRappa's combo library. Feel free to experiment. In fact, to help you along your way, I'm going to give you a couple of building blocks. Try beginning a combo by slamming into your opponent with forwarded circle and then bringing them to you with neutral circle. Also, make use of this quick and easy 2-hit combo: neutral square to down and square. This will leave the opponent open for attacks such as neutral triangle, forward and square, or up and square. The latter is particularly beneficial, as you can follow it up with most other aerial attacks. 2 of the combos I have for you this week incorporate the building blocks I just described. To sweeten the deal, both combos have variations to try, all of which will push you over the AP threshold. So, combo number 1. Charge into the opponent with forward and circle, and then reel them in with neutral circle. Follow up with a neutral square to down and square combo. Launch them with a heavy uppercut on up and holding square. While in the air, reel them in again with aerial neutral circle, and finish the combo by double tapping aerial neutral square. 140 AP, in the bag. But let's say you want to reel someone out of a crowd rather than charge in after them. You can instead try this variation of the combo that omits the initial forward and circle attack. Begin by reeling them in with neutral circle. Follow up with neutral square to down and square as before, then hit forward and square. When you follow that up with up and holding square, you may notice that you're not level with your opponent, which you need to be for aerial neutral circle to connect. Ever so lightly tap the jump button in order to reach their level, and then finish the combo as before. Once again, this is worth 140 AP. Combo number 2 incorporates both forward and circle and forward and square. Begin again with forward and circle, reel them in with neutral circle, and hit them with the neutral square to down square combo. Body check them with forward and square, then press up and tap square for a light uppercut. Once you return to the ground, press up and holding square for the heavy uppercut. This will finish the combo for a whopping 145 AP. There are 2 variations for this combo, one which only works in a corner, and one that is more suited for wide open spaces. Both variations are also worth 145 AP. Simply repeat the original combo, omitting the initial forward and circle attack. In the corner, you must instead finish the combo with either up and tap square or up and triangle. Completely up to you, they both have the same effect. In a more open space, hit the jump button after pressing up and holding square, and then dive into your opponent with aerial forward and triangle. This particular variation is interesting, as you're already attacking as you're returning to the ground. So theoretically, you could immediately follow a maximum AP combo with another combo on a different opponent. Here's an example of a combo that you could follow up with. After hitting an opponent with aerial forward and triangle, juggle them with up and tap square, and then launch them with up and holding square. Tap the jump button lightly to stay level with them. Reel them in with aerial neutral circle, and then double tap aerial neutral square to finish the combo and send them back down to the ground. This combo alone is worth 95 AP. Combine that with the second variation of the previous combo, and you could earn 240 AP in less than 10 seconds. Not bad for a 2-dimensional dog, huh? Supers are unfortunately where PaRappa starts to pale in comparison to other characters. They're all pretty lackluster across the board, but to make up for it, they're inexpensive. Master PaRappa's combos, and you should be able to fire them off frequently. For his level 1, PaRappa will perform a flip kick that generates a deadly wave primarily aimed at airborne opponents. This super can be difficult to aim and has a drastically short range against grounded opponents. Multiple kills are possible if you're very careful where and when you use it. PaRappa's level 2 is a safer bet and by far his best super. He'll hop onto his skateboard, increasing his speed dramatically, and will take out any opponents he runs over. This super is practically impossible to evade on flat stages like Dojo or Hades, but you'll have a much harder time on the busier, tiered stages like Dreamscape or Blackrock Stadium, where manoeuvring the high-speed skateboard can prove problematic. Level 3 is a screen clear, so not much strategy to discuss. 3 instant kills, no more, no less. On the stages where the level 2 super is difficult to direct, this is the more suitable option. And if you can keep landing some hard-hitting combos, you might even be able to cram multiple level 3s into one match. PaRappa is currently my go-to character in PlayStation All-Stars. He's quick, nimble, and has sky-high combo potential. Whether or not you can consider him a top-tier character depends on whether you can fulfill this potential. Personally, in the right hands, I think he's near the top of the board. Let's wrap up with some key points. Because PaRappa's supers are so weak, you need to be using them frequently, and to do that, you need to be willing to learn some combos. Remember the building blocks we discussed. You can overcome his short range by using neutral circle to reel in opponents, and aerial forward and triangle to cross the stage quickly. PaRappa excels at juggling and aerial combat. Be sure to explore the myriad of options available to you while airborne, and see what works for you. Finally, reserve the level 3 super for busier stages, where the level 2 super is unlikely to yield the equivalent 3 kills. That's it for this week. I've been Jack from the Beard Network, and be sure to come back next week for another All-Star Guide.